sure everything is all good. But I want to talk a little bit about the Game Awards. Oh, freaking A. The issue with the Game Awards, it overall was fine. Not that big of a deal. But I started thinking about what institutes a good game and a bad game because I watched the only I started live streaming it. Like I jumped in other streams to check it out, and then I decided to live stream it like the last hour. Um, and I wanted to, and I remember the only trailer that actually pissed me off because it had no music. It like the music wasn't correct to the game. It wasn't. It looked like Mad Max, a sci-fi Mad Max than actual Star Wars. Was the race like racing Star Wars game? That one was one. Like there's other games that worried me. Overall, a lot of them looked good, but the Star Wars racing game is the one that I was like, it pissed me off. It looked stupid. Didn't look anything like Star Wars. It also, it's just, I'm so sick of that music. Like, I know it's for psychological reasons to like, this is what hypes everybody up. Like, if you see trailers, you get the, it's so dumb. Like, keep the music of the property the same, and then give us the actual soundtrack of the movie. Like a movie that I didn't even care for that has a beautiful soundtrack is The Batman. Matt Reeves' Batman, right? Like the throughout the trailer, even when he was like getting shot at, there wasn't the like you look at Avatar, the some of the Star Wars movies like Fantastic Four, any Marvel movie, you get the it pisses me off, dude. So, especially for Star Wars, like the music is iconic. It's gonna get you in the feels every time. You don't need to do these random or different freaking sounds to or soundtrack to get people hyped up for the trailer. So, gosh, they're just being freaking retarded. All right. Um, like obviously I've been playing Fallout a lot. You guys have definitely seen me um play the game, and it's been fun. It got me thinking. After the Game Awards, I was thinking about good TV and bad TV, good movies and bad movies. Like they came out with a Street Fighter. They're coming out with a Street Fighter game or movie, and we've had a few Street Fighter movies, I believe. I can only remember one, but I believe it's more than one. And those were like your. It was those. It was the type of movie that went straight to DVD, right? And then I saw a bunch of interviews like with Pierce Morgan and Neurotic and um, Critical Drinker, and I think YouTubers overall have been talking about how media sucks and the woke bullcrap, all that stuff. But I came across one of the original creators of Fallout. He started doing YouTube not so long ago, and he talked about he pretty much lays out why things suck, and the differences. The second video we're gonna react to it live, but this video I stopped it halfway, but I wanted to go through it again and actually give my thoughts on it, on the state of not only the game industry but Hollywood in general. So let's get to it.
Before I start, I'm going to tell you 3 different stories. They're a little different, but then I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. Back when we made Fallout, towards the end, when we were really trying to get it out, we had 2 whiteboards. One whiteboard had a list of features or content that weren't done yet that really needed to get in.
Pretty
and the
simple.
other whiteboard had a list of what the 10 most egregious bugs were. And next to each one of these, on these 2 different whiteboards, were listed the person who was assigned to it. We did it in a whiteboard like this so that people could come in the morning and look at it, because this predated Jira or Confluence or anything like that. They could come in, look at the whiteboard, and go, "Oh, I see something I need to jump on."
This is a pretty simple thing. I guess you could say I'm more like an old school guy. I kind of did that when I used to own a Lego store, right? The which customers are coming in, what are they looking for, what sets that absolutely need to be worked on, um, like like when the employees come in and I'm not there, they knew exactly what to tackle in the beginning of the day and what was more important than the rest of the stuff, and it got to a point where they were so good at it that we didn't need it anymore. But it's because I had the same employees for a long time, and also they were cool and they weren't crybabies. So keep that in mind.
Worked fine. I don't think I heard any complaint about it.
Yeah, it's
People
simple.
liked getting stuff off of that. If they saw something, I was like, "I'm on that today." Try doing the exact same thing 10 years later at Carbine. Overwhelmingly, people said, "No, do not do that. I will quit if you do that. If I see my name on that whiteboard, I will quit." And I said, "Well, what if we don't put people's names next to it?" "I'll still quit. People will know it's me." Story 2. When we were making the Outer Worlds, I wanted to put in, this is probably end of year 2, so we're still.
Okay. Those people, freaking pansies, right? Like, why do you think they would say things like "I would quit"? They would threaten. First of all, there's so many people that have jobs in today's day and age that don't know struggle. Like they graduated, they did the formula. Good on them. Great. Their parents kind of saved them a lot of heartache, but they forgot to keep them humble. So they did the process. Go to school, get good grades, show up, get to college, get to a good college, show up, get good grades, and then find a good job. Awesome. It doesn't work very well anymore, but it's still a formula that's proven, and I'm not saying like it doesn't work. It's just you're probably not going to get your dream job right out of college, right? So you have that, and then these freaking crybabies would come in, and they first don't want to be held accountable, because to them it's really hard to kind of get in their mindset, because what is it? Do they want the credit when after it's all said and done and everything's perfect? Okay, now I want the credit. Or do they want to just cover their butt, or are they too scared? Like it's I would say it's a mix of everything, but mainly is they don't want to be held accountable if they screw up. They want perfection. They are so afraid of screwing up that they rather be on the street, and they're going to be able to get another job because at least that's their confidence. Like they haven't been homeless. They haven't had to live out of a car. They haven't lost a job while they had people responsible for they were responsible for people's well-being, like a family and stuff like that. But freaking A. And you can't just fire them. And I'll explain why later on, but you can't. It's not good to keep firing people. Okay?
A year away. The combat AI wasn't really in yet, so I asked for a very simple combat aggression.
I used to do it by
code to be
paper.
added. This is how simple it was. Every time an NPC got shot, they would see if that person was on the list of someone who'd shot them. If they weren't, they'd add them to the list, with the amount of damage they just took. If they were already on the list, they'd just add the amount of damage they took. Whenever they're deciding who to attack, they attack the person at the top of the list. That's it. That's all I wanted.
So
Keep in
aggro.
mind, the advantage of that basic AI, you can make lots of changes later. You can make them that it has the one at the top of the list. If it's different than the person you're attacking, the damage has to exceed the damage of the person attacking you by a certain amount before you change targets. You can take distance into account. You can take whether you can reach them into account, whether you have a ranged weapon into account. All that comes later. That's all I wanted. It got put into the programmer production query queue and came back with an estimate of 4 weeks. I pushed back saying the code I asked for was very simple. I've written it before. Would take about 45 minutes. It's basically, there's already a callback when you get hit. That's when you look to put them on the list. And there's a callback, there's a call when you want to pick a target. That's when you look at the list and see which one you want to attack. That's it. The programmer who it got assigned to came to me and said, I need 4 weeks. And I'm like, why? Walk me through what you're going to do. And he goes, you don't understand. And I was like, I've coded this 3 times. Walk me through it. And he wouldn't.
Yeah, what's the problem?
He left. He left angry. Lead programmer came back, started yelling at me, saying, if he says he needs 4 weeks, he needs 4 weeks. And I'm like, then I will do it. I'll have it done before lunch. And he said, no, because then people will have to support your code. I'm like, well, let me I'm going to walk you through what I want. And you tell me why this takes 4 weeks. He looked at what I wrote, which was about 10 lines of pseudocode on a whiteboard. And he goes, I'll come back. He came back about an hour later and said, what about 2 weeks? And I said, do I have any options here? Fine. 2 weeks.
That's so such a 2 weeks of a task that could be done in 45 minutes is insane. And it's not about incompetence. It's a guy literally just doesn't want to do it. And even though he can do it, he has to focus on other things. Like, he's the lead of it. So, and unfortunately, some of it's on him. Okay? He is the lead. He picks the team. So, he's the lead of the leaders. So it's kind of on him to really gain the respect and be like, you're going to do what I tell you to do. We can have a great relationship, but when push comes to shove, it's my way or the highway, or else you could just freaking leave because I don't care about you. If you're going to hinder everybody's work, it hinders everybody's work, not just the things that he needs to get done. It's like when somebody else has to support the code, they first need the code, and the guy is refusing to do it. So whatever task they have to do that requires the code, it's just their projects also stop for 2 weeks. It's selfish and stupid.
Leonard and I talk about features all the time, whether it's dialogues or system mechanics or story, setting. We get very into it. Our voices may be raised. We're jumping out of our chairs to draw things on whiteboards. We're pacing back and forth. I know I've mentioned this before, but Anthony Davis showed up at our door and said, You guys have to stop yelling. Everybody's getting nervous. It's like mom and dad are yelling at each other. Still don't know who he meant was mom, but we explained that's just us talking. We're not mad, but we're trying to tease apart exactly what to do, and we're getting into it. So,
wow. Good Lord. I'll give you guys a little story. Or not even a story, more like a fact. So, I'm from Brazil, right? But my family in particular, Brazilians, we're already louder because we're passionate. We're not like how some people in America are loud, where it's just obnoxious. I'm talking about in the confines of our own home or family and friends, in how we're discussing things. Sometimes in public, but it's not like in the middle of a store or in front of a cashier. But just the way we talk, sometimes other people might perceive it as aggressive. And especially those who come into their family or is at a party, they think we're fighting the entire day. And we sometimes have to explain to them we're not, it's fine. But after the explanation is done, everybody's cool. And we go back to speaking exactly how it is. We cut each other off. We speak it's a normal thing. Here's the thing. If the guy was comfortable enough to be like, mom and dad, it sounds like mom and dad are fighting. First of all, he should he should know them intimately enough. If you're intimate with somebody to the point where you could barge in their office and either call them out for something they've probably already done in the past that isn't a problem, then you should also be comfortable enough to explain to other people who maybe have some trauma or like, I don't like hearing it. It sounds like mom and dad fighting. Like, dude, like, suck it easy and realize that that's their process. They're chilling. It's not hindering anybody. If anything, it's funny. And go get back to work. Like, why are you worrying about other people's problems? And it's not even a problem. So leave them alone, man, and like freaking just get the job done, you retard.
What do those three stories have to do with each other?
Weak individuals.
I'm starting to see in the industry, I shouldn't say starting, in the last decade, the last quarter of my career, I'm starting to see this rise of what I can only call development caution, an abundance of caution.
There's a F slur for that slur
estimates
that encompasses all of
time
that.
estimates of wanting to go around and check with a lot of people to see if something's okay, asking should we do this, I'm not sure, let's have
This is
a
why
meeting.
games are delayed, because everybody's freaking gay.
Frequently, people would want to have a meeting to discuss something, and those were the very people who would say, we have too many meetings, I can't get any work done.
I've had that. I have been in some of those meetings where the same people that called for the meeting also complained about the meeting. It's in these people generally. Here's the funny thing, and it's not to be sexist or whatever, but they were generally women. Just saying, it's the truth. Good Lord.
Now, caution can
Generally women or effeminate men. Like, I think a requirement to work in a high pressure environment should be that you should be punched in the face and put in the ring with one of the coworkers of the same weight and gender and just survive for like a minute and that's it. I think the world would be a better place. And I stand by that. The conflict resolution.
really good thing if it leads to less bugs, less stress.
But it led to
Also,
more,
I
huh?
get the fact that because games cost more now, people are approaching it with this sense of caution. Because
No, it costs more because people are taking too long. They're taking too long with the dumb things. They're not being proactive. They don't have no passion for it. So it's not just about like whether it takes up too much memory or the engines are more complicated. No, it costs more because they keep making crappy games. Like, okay, let's say you make a perfect game and you market it well, whatever. The margins might be a smaller percentage than before, but because you made a great game, then you're going to make the margins in some other part. Whether it's merchandising, whether it's in the next game, whether it's an expansion pack, events, competitions, there's going to be a lot of things to profit from, but there's also the greed aspect. So the reason things are expensive is because they want the most money out of everything, even though it might screw over the customer and the customer experience. And even then, it's still not guaranteed that you're going to make a good game in a timely manner. Because as he's saying, like, everything's delayed because people are trying to delay the games because of their incompetence. They don't want to take credit. They don't want to actually feel fault because they know they shouldn't be even working there because that's how much they suck. So, inflation's a factor. The memory usage on games, people are trying to conserve certain things, but overall, it just comes down to who's passionate about it. Because if you make a perfect game, the consumers will buy $100 game. Like, if you could guarantee and have that reputation of a guaranteed perfect game where it's not a money grab. You're not worried about freaking crates and microtransactions, and it's just you pop it in and play, and that's the game. And there's enough content for like think about World of Warcraft. Like, in order to win everything in there, dude, you have to spend years on that game. It can't just be casual either. Like by years, I mean, like, you have to have a sleep schedule, you have to eat, you have to bathe, you have to have a relationship, and then all your free time is that game, and a job. Maybe you could beat the whole thing by only sleeping 3 hours a day for a year, and that's all you do, and you piss in a cup right next to you as you play the game. Maybe. But
you're not just going to be out a little bit of money. You're going to be out a lot of money if this game doesn't do well.
Just make a good game.
The thing that worries me, though, is games can also be a lot worse because of caution. And everybody who's cautious kind of denies that. They're like, no, we're reducing bugs.
Because they're not being creative, too.
Like work balance. People are less stressed. And I'm like, true.
They're more worried about failure than putting in a good product. Yeah.
In a game.
See? Risk.
Which, in many games, I think give them less charm. And, yeah, even games that have jank have a lot of charm. My games have had jank. I know people talk about jank in other games. Things where the AI acts in a bizarre way in certain circumstances, or NPCs say weird things or do weird things. It can be charming. But things have changed, and I know...
Even like glitches, like super jumps in Halo 2.
An expression of an idea of artwork from a particular person or group of people into a corporate-driven, money-seeking instrument. And I get it. There's a lot of money going into these. In a way, though, I would argue they always were. You always were making these with the idea that, I hope it sells a lot and we make money. But now, design...
There was a picture, I'm not going to bring it up, but there was a picture of the team at Bungie from Halo, the people who developed Halo, and then the picture of now Halo Studios, of those who are developing Halo. And the first picture, computer nerds, geeks, like they look like content creators like Asmongold and Critical Drinker. Not Critical Drinker, Moist Critical, and older dudes. Then you see the other one, a lot of quite the diversity in like it's almost half women, half men, very young guys with a few old sprinkled in there, and eccentric types. But there's an obvious difference in which one's creating the better games. Because that's the thing with creativity. If it's a good idea and you have passion for it, you're going to develop it, and you're not going to release it until it is your vision, the best. But if you don't have a vision, then you can't take risk. So the people that are currently not taking risks, they don't have a vision for what they want this game to be. They have a job, and then they have a task, and that's it. They don't care beyond the game. They're not going to play the game. That's like, I say it a million times, I'm a guy who likes to play games, just a regular dude. I'm not a gamer, a pro gamer, but I understand business. I understand care within the business. Like in the small business world, nobody cares as much as the business owner, and that's always the same. And then those who have equity in the business, they care just as much as the business owner. So big business, you got a lot of people who care. In small business, you don't. The way the video game industry works, you got the big business, and then the development of the game is the small business. So there's only really one leading head. Before, they were kind of attached, where it's like every game needs to be a hit. And so they were all part of the big business, so everybody cared so much, so they really were careful on who they hired. And yeah, a lot of industries and and businesses stepped on the ball. Like they they screwed up. They forced timelines, um, release dates, and forced crazy work hours and whatnot. But the people kept working even though they hated the hours that they were working because they still wanted a great game that they also want to play. And these guys who are not taking risks, they don't have no vision. They're not going to play the game. They are going to launch it and then hope everybody buys it, and then they're going to move on to the next job, the next project.
Being driven by this. That's why we have microtransactions. It's why we have pre-orders.
Yeah.
It's why we have what we're starting to see lately, where games are, if you pay a little more, you can play it a few days or even a week early. Now, you can't always blame
Yeah, I don't like that.
the publishers or the developers for this. If people didn't pay for it, they wouldn't do it. It's like spam. If everybody stopped answering spam tomorrow, it would go away. But because a tiny percentage does, it's there for everybody to see.
Yeah, and I'll give a little caveat to something I hate, which is microtransactions. Look, as much as I hate microtransactions, I think microtransactions have the ability to earn as the ability to pay. But if you earn it, there's an added bonus into maybe the type of colors you can use on a skin, or more customization through earning it. And then you could also do both, but just have the armor early on. You know, like, I think just microtransactions, there's a way to do it right where people care. People would be happy to do it. And honestly, if it's a great game and you just get extra stuff by microtransactions that doesn't change the game, I think people would buy it regardless. I'm not gonna do it. I've never paid for any microtransaction in my life. I will never do it. Just because I like to earn the things. Like if I have a certain armor in Halo, it's because I earned it. You know, and back in the day, it was a big indicator of the type of person you're playing. Let's say you reach max rank on Halo Reach, or you're reaching there, so you're competing with like the top Halo Reach guys, right? You saw the guy with the skull helmet, you were probably going to get your butt handed to you that game if he was your enemy. And if he was on your side, you're get super excited because you're most likely going to win. So there was that. Okay. And now it's just like, oh, if you go in and to not just skins, but like to specific abilities and weapons, you can pretty much pay to win. That's been a huge problem where all you do is use your money, and you're going to have the best stuff to be able to be the most competitive player. And it also takes away from the experience of the fun aspect of games.
But so I'm not really talking about the money driven part. I'm talking about how the caution is dampening down the ideas. It's why I'm double down on
They're
this.
not even concerned about money.
I thought the indie space is a lot richer in ideas. Probably not money, certainly not money, but they're much richer in ideas because they take less. They have less caution and take a lot more risk.
And they have a lot more people who care.
Is, AAAs that dip into indie games for features and ideas. By the way, it's not just publishers and developers that I see all this caution with. I've seen a huge rise in caution in game journalism. It's become the norm that no journalist wants to risk getting into an embargo situation where they're not given an early access code, so they can't write their reviews earlier than other people. They're worried about not being invited to press events or, junkets, I think they're called.
Yep.
So a lot of them have gone a lot more cautious in what they say. I really miss the reviews. I'll name a couple, like Scorpia in the 80s and 90s and Deathlock in the 90s and early 2000s. Because those two reviewers said what they thought. If you put out a game, they'd skewer you for all the things that were wrong with it, but then they'd praise you for everything that's right with it.
Yeah, it's called an honest person.
Now it's sort of like, well, we really like this, but they don't want to like really double down on it because it may be something people don't like. So, like, let's say a journalist loves the diversity in a game, he may go, well, I'm not going to say that much because I don't want to come across as being pandering, and also some people yell when you talk about that. So I just see a lot of the passion drain out of game journalism, and they're really just trying to go for what kind of review can I write that generates the most clicks. And I guess this worries me because if I see this everywhere, if I see this in publishers and developers and
It
now
should worry you.
new people entering the industry, they don't have this passion anymore. So, what's the moral of all this? I want to tell people, just go and make what you want. You don't.
The passion was to get the job, to also be famous within a certain sphere. That was their whole passion. Their passion wasn't, I want to make the best game, and this is the best company to work with in this type of game. So therefore, I need to work my butt off to just start. Like, they believe there's a difference in types of goals, right? The people who are passionate about a game, their start was to get the job. They did all this stuff, whether they did something for free, they went through the hoops, they did the interviews, they did the time in school or whatever they had to do to meet the requirements to get the job. Then they start, and those are people who are passionate because it's like, I finally got the job, I can now start. The people who are not passionate is the job was the finish line. Like, in their head, they were passionate about getting the job, not what the job entails. It's about the money and that their accolades and their name is going to be attached to something that's greater than them, which is sometimes a factor of both different people. But those people, their start, they don't think about, like, I need to do stuff for free or all this stuff to put in the work to show that I could prove myself to be a part of something so great. They're like, no, everything needs to count for something. I need to do it and then get recognized. And then when I got the job, I win. And they cross the finish line. The people who are passionate didn't cross the finish line and usually never do. In a good way, meaning this game was great, and then they thought of something else they could have done in the game after the fact. So then in the next game, they want to add to it. That's why you have a game that goes that's the first game, and then a sequel, and a sequel after that. It usually progresses to get better, and new mechanics and new development, because it isn't just technology increasing and now you got better graphics. It's because they thought of something that maybe they could have been implemented in the first game after the fact, maybe even a year later, that, man, if we implement this idea into this game, maybe we could do a map like this, a character like that, we can add the story here, blah, blah, blah. So then gets the creative juices flowing. Man, it's simple stuff, dude. And, as much as he's concerned, if you're a lead, if you're a manager, you're a boss, you're at fault. You should be taking the most blame.
Committee to sign off on it. You can always go back and change it, or if you make something and it turns out not to be good at all and unsalvageable, throw it away. But that rapid iteration to get to some really good idea is a lot better than just being so cautious that you basically creep up to a very mundane game that doesn't show any.
I know I'm pausing it a little too frequently, but it just made me think of a conversation I had with my wife, where a big issue of how the school system works is it makes you scared to fail instead of promoting failure. Like, you're not going to be the best at everything. If you're really good at math, you might be bad at history. If you're good at history, you might be bad at science. If you're bad at science, you might be bad. Well, the list goes on and on, right? So you're going to have certain strengths and certain weaknesses. And the school system should be designed to help you understand that that's normal, that's life. You're going to fail and you're going to succeed. And it's okay if you fail. As the ultimate, it's only bad if you give up. Like, giving up is the problem. Failure is not. Failure eventually will lead to the good things, to the things that actually work. Like he was stating, the good ideas. And unfortunately, that's the system we live in. Like, don't screw up or else you'll get fired. Don't screw up or else you'll get in trouble. Don't screw up or else people think you're stupid. But in a creative space like video games, you have to screw up. And like he's saying, you could go back and fix it. You don't. It's not like you screw up and then they have to release the game after you screwed up. Like, no. I screwed up on this. Trust me, people are not gonna like it, and let's fix this. Okay.
Passion in its development. People can tell. So, I started with stories. Let me end with those 3 stories and how they kind of got resolved. So, I didn't even try to do the whiteboard solution when I made Outer Worlds. What I did is I made my own Confluence page called, like, it was Tim Kane's top 10 or something. It was in my Confluence space, and I wrote, here are the 10 biggest things I want looked at this week. And there were a few producers who would look at that page all the time. What was great about this solution, nobody could come and complain to me about it because it was in my Confluence space. My own personal, but public, Confluence space. Also, I'd like to point out that anybody could go to Jira at any time and say, what are the 10 most highly prioritized bugs, and who are they assigned to? So we already had that whiteboard virtually, but somehow it was okay that it wasn't.
Yeah, it's so dumb to like play
attention.
Mind games. It's
for the combat aggression code.
It's the same thing. It's just a more sensitive way to do it.
Great, I got it. I don't think I asked for anything after that. I didn't go and specifically ask for anything because I realized that I was being viewed as some sort of ogre when I knew something could be done faster, and there was no solution to it.
It's called competence.
Why years ago I started thinking, ooh, this is becoming a problem. Same thing with Leonard and I yelling at each other. We just kept doing it. We're like, it's our office.
Yeah.
We're shut the door. We're not mad at each other. But this is the way we get things done. Noted that some people don't like it. We won't get things done like that with you. And let me tell you, I think there were people who felt like they missed out on not being parts of those conversations.
Yeah, because it's also very.
Some people would come over. Charlie,
it's intimate. You get to know each other
right next door.
It's nice.
And he would the lead designer on Outer Worlds, and he would come in sometimes and join in. Great. Other people didn't do that. You missed out. And I think you missed out on some really fun, active, engaging conversations about game development. But that's the way things are going. So I'm not sure I have a great solution other than reminding people to be passionate. But I just kind of want to talk about this because it kind of ties into bigger teams and longer development time and bigger budgets.
Look, at least in the movie industry, they have too many producers that they have to get credit for that frankly don't need to be there. And they are going to get some money from it. You know, like there's things that they spend money on that's a waste of money. And it's not about firing people because that's not how you the problem is when you've hired somebody who you thought was one way, turned out to be another. I spoke about it in yesterday's live stream where I hired a super cool guy, but his life like literally crumbled when right after getting hired. It happens. It freaking sucks, but it happens, you know. So well, I think you got to I don't know. I think you got to try to be humble and actually decipher how when you screwed up, and then those people you have to kind of reteach and rewire their brain, which is really hard to do. And then you got to make sure you don't make that same mistake. Like firing somebody isn't just about them being difficult to work with, because the best thing, like, it's more time consuming, but the best thing to do is actually have somebody progress, right? If they don't want to progress, then like the worst employee isn't a bad employee. A bad employee you could fire. The worst employee is the ones who do the bare minimum, because you don't have any reason to fire them, but you have no reason to promote them, and they hinder the project because they're not putting in 100%. Now, most employees will never put in 100%. Most employees will never put in 80%. But you could get an employee that puts in 40% and get them to 75%. And that's good enough. And then you're going to have outliers who give you 120%, which, will make up for those other employees. But, and eventually they might increase the percentage of the capacity that they actually work in.
Game development caution that's rising up in the industry. So there. Whew,
I think it's going to get better. This is part 2. Look, and we'll go through part 2. I think it is going to get better. It's going to take some time. You see kind of like people... Oh, by the way, StreamHub on... I don't know if StreamHub Shop is a... Are you a bot or what are you, man? But whatever you are on Kickside, thanks. I think it's already shown that society is going to have an increase. The reason why is because you kind of see on social media, you see on like kids being active again, going out, doorbell ditching, pulling pranks that are innocent, staying away from the phones more often. I am starting to see that again. Like bring back the word retard. That's going to make it so, like simple stuff like that, where it's going to reduce sensitivity and make people go back to being tolerant and happy. And like no more restriction on them, like so they could be free and do whatever they want. It might not have been very articulate the way I put it, but I do think there will be a shift. It's unfortunate that we're gonna have to stick through a lot of these sensitive freaking cowtards that exist out there. And man, like, it's gonna get better. I was hearing one of the Piers Morgan podcasts. It was kind of dumb. We were talking about politics, and they talked about Sydney Sweeney's boobs. And the gay dude there that was all woke and stuff, he was deeply offended. And he said a passive-aggressive comment, like, aside from the misogyny, I think this, and this. And it's like, bruh, shut the hell up. Like, do not be passive-aggressive and do those, give a backhand, like, sliding in. Like, that doesn't... For me, that doesn't play with me. Like, you are going to, like, you're going to get your butt handed to you, man. I swear, like, I'm going to freaking take you out if you're going to do that. Like, speak to me like a man. And maybe that's a little too aggressive, but, like, you're going to respect me. That sounds much better. But anyways, yeah, I think, that I don't know how it all worked with him, but I do think you need to hold some accountability in the team that you built and allowed into your workplace. But let's go through the next video. Let's see what else he has to say.
Hi everyone, it's me, Tim, and today I want to do part 2
Tim?
of game development caution, because that video got a lot of views and a lot of comments, and I kind of want to talk about it. Yeah, I know the lighting's weird. It is just dark in Seattle all the time sometimes. Today's a dark day.
He's in Seattle. That makes a lot more sense. I wouldn't be surprised if he was gay or something, and I'm being real, because in Seattle, like, they breed that stuff out there, and sensitive folks. But even if he is, still seems like a cool dude. It don't matter. And that's actually something I like to point out. There's normal people who happen to like the same sex, and then there's freaks who have to be flamboyant and insane and wacky. And it's like, why can't you just be, if you're a guy, just be a normal guy, and then enjoy the things you enjoy. Same thing with a girl. Why do you have to look butch? Why do you have to look and dress like a dude in order for you to express that you enjoy the same sex? Like, it's a like I've like I have some friends, some people I know that are of that, they don't consider themselves of that community because they hate the community, but they are attracted to the same, and they are usually cool people. And I've had, like, it's a story for another time, but I've had to actually study some of this stuff and the reason why we have trends and fashion and whatnot. But yeah, it's a deep psychological issue. But yeah, Seattle makes sense about sensitive weirdos.
So I just turned on the overhead light.
But he's a cool guy. So far, from what I could tell, I don't know.
I did the video on game development caution, and on the one hand, there was a lot of really good discussion about it, and that was great.
Oh, so he's
that there was discussion, because that's kind of what the game development business needs. It needs people.
So he's responding to comments. I'm guessing,
talking about processes, talking about problems, just telling people this is what it's like, so you can make an informed decision if this is the job you want to do. But there was a problem that ran through the comments on that video.
They probably said to fire them.
Some of the places that picked up the video continued what I considered to be an issue with how that video was taken. And the problem was that they were focusing on individuals. People were listening to the stories I told,
mm-hmm.
and focusing on one of the individuals as the problem, and not what the problem was I was trying to illustrate. I mean, I can give an example. There were a lot of people that said I was the bad guy, that I was the obvious bad boss, that I wasn't listening to the people who were working for me. I wasn't accepting their estimates. I was yelling in my office. It's funny. I know I kind of said we were yelling. We were just having a discussion. And it bothered me when I found out, oh, people were bothering. I'll shut the door. We'll go do it somewhere else. But the point of that was more of a, people don't want to talk about issues in detail like that. Most of them just want to be told what to do. That's kind of the point. I wasn't saying that these people are bad. I'm saying the process that they find themselves involved in is bad.
What?
A lot of people were like, oh, you should have just fired some of those people involved.
Okay,
they didn't want the whiteboard up, fire. Gave you bad estimates, fire them. That's totally missing the whole point.
Yeah, you got to find the root.
And I'm torn because I think when I'm talking about things, I do better when I give specific examples. It illustrates it and kind of roots it in reality. And these are real problems that happen. These are real things that happen. But the problem is, people, when they focus on the wrong thing, it makes me think that they're like a doctor who, rather than trying to find out the cause of your illness, you're just being given pills to treat the symptoms. So it's like, oh, I've got this pain on my side. Here's a painkiller. That's not what I wanted. I want to know why I have a pain in my side.
Yes, 100%
I don't want a painkiller.
Because then you're just going to hire somebody with the same problem.
As soon as I found out it was kidney stone, I wanted all the painkillers they could give me. I was like, get science in the room. I need more painkillers. But similarly, saying, well, Tim, you're a horrible boss. No one will ever want to work with you. I agree. There's people who don't want to work with me. And probably some people on this channel who wouldn't want to work with me, and I wouldn't want to work with them. A lot of people do. That's missing the point. There was a problem getting people involved in a way that I think is part of their job. That they should be thinking, I'm putting this feature in. Is this gonna connect right? Why do people? Why are we even needed this? Nobody asked me why we needed that AI I suggested. It was needed because designers were blocked on testing combat.
Yeah.
The suggestion I added, I thought was reasonable. 45 minutes of code connected in just 2 spots, 2 locations, through events. An event system that already existed. No unit tests. No, well, how would this be extended? This code was designed to be thrown out. It served a purpose. I could do a whole thing on rapid prototyping, and maybe I will, but rapid prototyping just isn't a thing in the industry anymore. And it was hard to get people to understand. I'm just trying to unblock something here really quickly. You will still be scheduled to do the real AI when it's really going to go in a few more months. We just need the designers and level
Placeholder, yeah.
designers, especially who are making encounters, to be able to get a little better feel for how those encounters will go. But anyway,
It was.
let's talk about a non-game
He wasn't asking
example.
for anything
Maybe if I
crazy.
illustrated this with a non-game example, it would make more sense. Let's say there was an intersection near your house. 2 streets intersected. And there were always accidents there. Cars are always running into each other there. Now, a reasonable person might go, okay, are there trees or hedges or other things blocking view there? Maybe we need stop signs or a stoplight, or maybe we need to replace it with a roundabout. Those are reasonable discussions to the problem I just mentioned. People asking questions about what could be the cause of this, and here are some possible solutions. Instead, how I see people talk about it is, oh my goodness, they should ticket everybody who has an accident there, and if you have more than one accident, you just get your license removed. That'll fix it.
Yeah, morons.
Or they say, why don't we just reduce the speed on those roads and all the nearby roads to like
They
10 miles
just
per
didn't
hour?
want to think about it.
Then there probably won't be accidents because people can stop in time. And even if there are, no one will get hurt. Or they go, there's accidents there and people are getting hurt a lot. We should build a hospital right on the corner. So then when people get hurt, we can take them right into that hospital.
This example reminds me of, like, I had a meeting that kind of went like this in when I worked at GNC. And instead of people discussing and understanding that their idea might not be a good idea, but we could all come collectively together and create a good idea, people didn't want to do that because everybody believed their idea was the best idea. Because if you put it out there and then that idea is shut down in a courteous way, by the way, they will still take offense to it. And their problem will be now with you. And so they're going to, it's all emotional based. It's all, nobody can just be like, oh yeah, okay, I could see how my idea doesn't work. Like building a hospital, that's expensive. That doesn't really solve the problem. That's the Band-Aid solution. The proper solution is identifying the problem, realizing the issue, and figuring out that it was an original developer's mistake, and that you guys can come together and figure out what's the best solution that's going to be cheaper but also be the safest in the long run, and regardless of how expensive it's going to be, apply it. Like a roundabout doesn't work in every intersection, right? A stop sign doesn't work in every intersection. A light, maybe you need a speed bump. Maybe you need to actually close that section off. It happens. Maybe make it a one-way, like in on one of the streets. Like that's the truth. Like there's a lot of discussion to be had there. You have to dissect it.
And it's like all those suggestions, people think they're being reasonable and intelligent, and I'm gonna fix this problem of accidents at this intersection, but they're looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah.
They're either punishing the people for having the accidents or making it so that the accidents still happen, but the side effects aren't as bad, either in damage or the accidents happen just as badly, but you've got something there to fix the people. It breaks my programmer brain that people think those are suggestions, reasonable suggestions to, there's an intersection with a lot of accidents. And that's how I feel like a lot of people are responding to my stories. They're not thinking about what's causing it. They're looking at the symptoms and going, I can get rid of those symptoms. Trivial. And to put it in another non-game development analogy, let me tell you how I think of this channel, this whole channel, every topic. Every time I start and talk, this is what I'm thinking. I feel like I'm walking around a dark warehouse and I've got a flashlight and I'm pointing at things in the warehouse and I'm going, oh, look there. See those boxes? I want people to see them. I want to be aware of what it is they're seeing. And then if it's an issue, maybe they can have some ideas of how to fix it.
Yeah, let's pretend it's not there.
Now, good suggestions would be, hey, I didn't get a good perspective on those boxes. Can you stand in a different place and illuminate them? Perfectly reasonable answer. Or, hey, I have some ideas of where you should go in the warehouse. Some places that need the light shown. So we can talk about that thing. Perfectly reasonable suggestions. Instead, I get comments like, well, I get oh, you're stupid. I get that worded in many different ways. Or, buy a bigger flashlight, you loser. Which I don't get why anybody would say that.
I think it's just
just
jokes.
turn off the flashlight. Now there's no problems anymore.
That's where a lot of people think
basically suggest
just
things
stupid.
of rather than fixing the problem, they're making the problem not visible anymore. And then some people even go, well, you should just leave the warehouse. You should go to the indie warehouse next door. We don't have those problems. And I'm like, okay, but can you not see that there's still a big warehouse with people bumping around in the dark and having problems? Going to the new warehouse doesn't fix the old warehouse. I understand some of you are like, look, I didn't build this warehouse. I don't know how to fix the warehouse problems. I'm going to go over to the indie warehouse. I get it. But, I spent the last 40 years in that warehouse. I want to try to help fix some of these things. Or, even better, point out them so you guys can fix them. So, in a sense, I kind of want the issues discussed so that people know what the issues are and agree what the issues are and then try to fix them. And that's the whole point of this, kind of. I want, in addition to me wanting you guys to go and make great games for me to play, which is a totally selfish reason, but I consider this channel a place for learning about game development topics and discussing them. And some topics include problems that exist in the game industry. What I'm hoping is that people will focus more on treating the causes of those problems and a lot less on just ameliorating the symptoms of those problems. And as I said in another video about, hey, we've all got to agree that there is a problem and what's the cause of the problem and then the solution of the problem. That's kind of what I'm saying here. I see a lot of discussion about game development caution. I don't see a lot of suggestions on how to get rid of it. I see a lot of people saying, I don't think it's a problem, or they're being this way because of fear of their job or fear of speaking out.
It does.
Okay, if that's the root cause of this, how do we fix that? And I don't think we fix that by firing people. Because once you start going down that road, you end up with a lot of very quiet people who never want to rock the boat.
Yeah, like, the way to fix is leadership. It's plain and simple. The leadership needs to help everybody realize, to an individual level, that you can make a mistake, that you have the freedom to make the mistakes, to suggest something stupid, to do something out of the ordinary, as long as it doesn't affect the entire business negatively, but it's an idea that is designed to progress the business, then it's fine. If people can feel that, I think even whether they're a woke tard or they're just, a shy and person that worries about their job, like, everybody can feel that and be like, okay, you know what? That's that's valid. Like I feel like I'm not gonna lose my job if I make this suggestion. If I try this thing out, like, and then show, hey, look, I tried this out. I'm not sure if it works. What do you think? And they're like, man, you spent 2 hours doing this. Like, are you dumb? Like, get out of here. Then they won't want to do it again. But if there's like has to be a level of encouragement, and at the same time, when you punish somebody, have it very understanding the points that was punished and the points that you actually praise in the same punishment. It's I'd say it's a skill that needs to be learned and developed. It's not something that comes naturally to even natural leaders. Like they need to develop it as well.
Again,
Took
I
me a
still
while.
see game development caution
Still
as being
working
a
on it.
problem. I don't see it being solved with some of the solutions people are saying. In fact, most of those ignore the cause and are just going after symptoms. I think in the future, let's look more at causes. And that's kind of what this video is about. Anyway, thank you.
We're gonna go over this pathetic trailer. Look, it's those were the basics of the issues with development. With like caution is an issue where it does weed out those who are not passionate about the project. That is a problem. But at the same time, you have, how do I put this? You have those who want to provide a story based off ideology, based off their political standings, based off their own world experiences, instead of wanting to deliver a great game, which also deals to the point of passion. You know, you could be very passionate about the things you believe in, your religion, your activism, or whatever it is. You could be very passionate about that stuff, but you also have to be able to separate the two and then be passionate in a different way for something like developing a game. If you're very passionate about game development, then you're going to want to not only develop a good story, but you're going to want to deliver this product to other people because you want them to have enjoyment. You don't want to give them a message. You're not looking to shove some idea that you believe in down somebody's throat. You just want to see somebody happy. And then there comes the real passion of game development, which is going to remove the caution. The caution is a good center of the problems that we get in TV, movies, and games, where it's not just about it being woke. It's like people's passion needs to be separated. Like I'm passionate about Spider-Man, but I'm also passionate about, like disbelief. I'm passionate about Santa Claus, but I'm not going to put Santa Claus in every single thing I work on as a creative idea. I'm not going to put Santa Claus in the Mummy movies. I'm not going to put Santa Claus in Lord of the Rings. I'm not going to put Santa Claus in freaking Game of Thrones. Like and it could be an inspiration of certain elements to a character for the sake of a story because like it inspired you. Again, you're not when something inspires you, it isn't like you're so focused on it and you have to utilize this thing that you're obsessed about. It's something that you have been intimately aware or you have interacted with that inspired you to create something brand new with basis of the original product, project, or situation, right? So I do think those were excellent videos for not only us, but for him to put out there. I think it does help people understand the state of things overall, not just in video games, but it's not to get political, but I'm going to explain what tariffs do, right? when it doesn't matter what president, when the president of the U.S. decides to implement tariffs, it is a negotiation tactic. It is to have leverage in specific points that when the negotiation happens, he can have his way or her way or whatever. So, but when you use that, you also like have to understand how it hinders and how it hurts the people. But where is your hope as well? So it's yes, small businesses, other businesses, they're gonna have issues with import and exporting, right, because of the tariffs. But what's gonna happen is, especially here, where the president here versus the president in other countries is okay with that outcome, is because it's also the basis of the American dream, the American way, is the entrepreneurial spirit where like there's this tariff, so now we have this problem, and now I individually I have a solution that I'm going to build another business around, because then if this tariffs stay too long and other countries know this, especially for the US, somebody in the US is going to develop an idea, an invention, a business, a creation that is going to be possibly an even better solution than removing the tariffs again. And it's going to boost the economy. So that's where the hope of having a tariff is going to inspire people, because when you create a problem, somebody out there is going to try to figure out a solution. That's what all businesses, like most businesses, base is from. Is like there's a problem, and that's usually where like the most profitable and most common business are created out of. Is somebody saw a problem and then they decided to be the solution. Yes, some of it's like creative, like vitamin water. Vitamin water there wasn't a problem, a water problem to solve, but the guy had an idea. That's one thing. In the medical industry, we didn't have open heart surgery, and then somebody decided that is a possibility because whether their experience or whatever the situation was, and so they decided to have a team or themselves develop the machine that allows you to operate on the heart, which benefits all of society, right? So, and not only all of society, just the world in general. So there's two different reasons why building a company, but that's what tariffs would do. And like I explained before, the final, like where the finish line is for some people who are passionate, and then their beginning is just getting the job. Those are the people you could trust. Those are the people who are actually going to create a good game. It's very hard to find those people. They usually show up out of the blue for somebody who owns the company, right? It's the golden employee. And unfortunately, you have a lot of more roaches trying to get to the job, and then they're good staying that way, and that's that. But like I believe in people, that people can change. I do. Your behavior indicates on how long that change is going to take, and your actions, obviously. But when you run a business and you actually have to interact with your employees, or you're the lead of a project and you have to interact with the team and create the team, it all falls on you. And that's when you have to hold yourself accountable, because just like he was saying, like the solution isn't firing and getting the right people in. Sometimes it's like you have the right people, but you need to bring that potential out, because you could see it in there, and sometimes you can't. So, and sometimes you got to realize that you're not the guy for the job on that part. That's usually why you have business partners, because you guys both have different qualities. But yeah, give me a second. I'll be right back. I have to handle something real quick. And then we'll go over the damn Supergirl trailer, because it's retarded. Okay. So, one of the big issues in the gaming industry is the fact that like they still play off nostalgia. And yeah, like I think video games are like comics where they don't need to die off. I honestly think that. I think there needs to be a progression with the story. But unfortunately, video games have taken a different formula. They take the story like they forget to implement issues and keep the issues alive. Okay? So, for instance, in the world of Halo, we could have gotten more stories where, like, we got Halo 3 ODST, we got Halo Reach, we could have followed other Spartans that were also in the same time and in different parts of the galaxy through the events of CE all the way through Halo 3, right? We could have got a lot more games like that, and then keeping Halo alive. Keeping, have Master Chief as a cameo in a cutscene here and there. And then as the years go by, we get a sequel for Master Chief. Instead of just using him and playing him into a new story. Like, sometimes stories take time to progress into the new chapter, right? They take a lot of time for creativity. I'm not a big fan of using time as a factor, like, oh, it's going to take me time to get over this trauma or this issue. Like, and this is me personally, I think that life is too short, and I truly believe that. So I forgive pretty quickly. I separate things pretty quickly, but I never hold grudges. I try to resolve things. Like, if we argue big to the point that me and you start punching each other in the face and, we're bleeding by the end of it, probably in a matter of an hour or a few hours, I'm going to go try to find you to apologize and try to make sure that the rest of the day and the rest of our relationship is smooth sailing. It is fun. It is enjoyable, and that we just both screwed up. Not saying, like, as an adult, I haven't gotten to a legit fight. I've fought like in competition, but not like random friend or random person out on the street where it was like where it was real, with real animosity. But yeah, so I'm not a huge proponent on using time as an excuse. But I think as fans, we will give any developer time. Like, look, I want to use two examples. One where they did it right, one where they did it wrong. Sonic the Hedgehog. When that trailer came out, it was awful. Fans, like, he looked like a demon. And fans of Sonic, and just in the general sense, all came out and were like, this looks freaking stupid. Why the freak do you think, like, this movie's dead on arrival? And what did they do? The director himself was like, all right, you guys are right. Like, we were trying something new. We thought this is and it's very humbling to do that. Like, it shows a lot of gratitude, and I didn't even care for the trailer. Like, even after the fact that he did it, I was gonna go watch the movie regardless. That he went back, delayed the movie for around a year so they could do a whole redesign to as close to what we knew as possible, and it was believable. And I understand the reason for the first design was, like, logically they're thinking as logical as possible. Like, we need to make it believable. We need to make it like less goofy, so that in the real world people are like, yeah, hedgehogs don't look like that. And we've always had that issue with like comics, like the X-Men suits. Like, even though they're pretty iconic, they're cool now. But we wanted the yellow suit for Wolverine, the red and blue for Nightcrawler, the Professor X yellow chair. Like, we wanted all of that stuff, and they finally over time did it. But it's all you have to do is listen to the fans, because we want to give you our money. We want to spend the time to take care of you so that you can keep entertaining us. Nobody wants you to fail, man. Like, as much as I hate Disney and Disney Star Wars, I want them to succeed. I want good Star Wars. I want good MCU. I want good video games. But I have to call it out when your standards are below mediocre. Like, come on. When you're trying to change it to something that it's not. So, for instance, the other example was Halo. The graphics were crappy for Halo Infinite. They delayed it for a year. And you had all the graces in the world from the fans. And then what'd you do? You deliver them not even half of a product. It took years to get co-op, and I don't think anybody even cares that there's co-op anymore. All you did was put a paintbrush to some of the graphics, not even completely, and you didn't think, like, is this really a story that people are gonna enjoy? Is this something that people are like? There's issues with it. Like, it's a garbage game, and yeah, and then everything you gave us was just stupid. So, anyways, those are the two examples. There's a lot more issues than what I laid out, but it does come down to passion and care about the customer, because you don't just want a customer, you want clients. People are going to spend their life on your product, that they will never give up. Like, I'm never going to give up Lego. And Lego's gotten to the point where it's such a different product that even if they put out some woke bull crap, like, there's ways for me to still enjoy my Lego. Just like they try to do that with anything. The original stuff, they were still great, and it's been known that people have been playing the old video games more than new ones. I think I just don't have money to keep buying old video games and seeing how it works. But I think if you really want to make it as a streamer, you should probably play old video games. That's just the truth. You should probably do that. But let's go to the Supergirl trailer. First of all, I'll give you my thoughts, because I've already watched it. It's not a reaction. I'm going to go through it, and we're going to do it without sound because of the whole copyright and everything. A trailer is designed to get you into the movie theater, to get you to buy the product. There was, and I'm going to use this example because I saw when Campaign Evolved came out, I saw a video of this guy saying, like, if you were an old fan, an original fan of Halo CE, you should be supporting this game because you want people to have the same experiences you did. Like you should be supporting this game instead of bashing it. It's like, no. Gatekeeping is a part of all this. Gatekeeping allows you to never diminish your standards. We want everybody to have the same experience we did, the wonder of everything. But we're not going to tell them that Campaign Evolved is going to be exactly how it used to be, and you're going to feel the same nostalgic feels forever the way we feel with Halo CE. The fans aren't the issue. Like, your trailer, if we have a negative feeling towards it, you gave us that feeling. If we have a positive feeling, you gave us that feeling. The trailer is designed for us to be enticed by the product, for us to actually want to go and watch the damn thing. Like, the fans aren't the problem. The fans are the solution to all your problems. Like, if you want your problems resolved, you want more money, cater to actual fans. I'm I watched a video of Graham Nolan. He is the creator of Bane. He talked about when he was assigned a project that he did not like. He did not like the character, that comic, whatever it was. He didn't like it. But he was assigned as that to that project. Therefore, what did he do? Which is super refreshing, his answer, by the way. He said, I needed to figure out why people love this character and expand on that by putting my style, but keeping it true to what it was, even though I don't like it. That's how you're supposed to write. That is awesome. But damn, dude, like, what do you like this day and age? Like, if you don't like something and you're assigned Halo, but you like Fallout, you're gonna try to turn Halo into Fallout because that's what you like. That's how I'm using that as a you know, as a little example, because it's much worse than that. But essentially, they're not fans. Real fans are people who love it for what it is, not for what it could be, not for what their idea should change to. It's for what it is. It's called fanaticism. That's a fan. So fans are never the problem. Like, and I think we should start saying what people are and what people aren't. Fans love what came before. You can't, like, for instance, the Acolyte. Star Wars there's Star Wars fans, and then there's Acolyte fans. Acolyte fans are not Star Wars fans. There's certain product that contradict and counter everything that came before. You can't call yourself a Star Wars fan and also a fan of the Acolyte. You could say, I'm a fan of Star Wars and I'm a fan of the Acolyte, but I don't consider them the same thing. But you're a fan of both. That's fine. But to say, like, oh, the fans didn't show up for this. The fans of Star Wars didn't show up for the Acolyte because the Acolyte didn't attract Star Wars fans. Therefore, it is not Star Wars. It's a simple thing. Like, damn, freaking, it's pissing me off. Like for instance, nostalgia does sell. It's always gonna sell. It's not and it could do wonders if done right. All you have to do is respect the material that came before. You can still be creative without being irreverent to the past and the fans that currently support it. Because what you want to do as a business is add the money that's currently missing. You want the fans' money and the money of the people who are not spending on it. Then you have a recipe of success. So the fans, they will support even if it's expensive. If it's done with passion and love and care, the fans will come out and support. I promise you. But to say the fans are the problem, and the fans do need a gatekeep. We are the front lines. Don't think that gatekeeping is a bad thing. Yes, there's some things that are gatekeeping that are bad, but gatekeeping the standards is what you should always focus on. And that's my simple explanation of why, and without gatekeeping, look at the MCU. You had, whatever you think about the first movie of Thor, it was very respectful to the comics. And then the last Thor movie, Love and Thunder. Because there's no gatekeeping, because you alienated the fans, you killed it. The fans also, we're to blame for allowing certain things to exist. That's the truth. We didn't speak up enough, or maybe we did, but we had no control. Somebody was louder. There's still a part to blame of the fans when the crappy product comes out, but we do need to speak up. And then if you're saying, for instance, musicals, in cinema, nobody really cares about them. But if you're saying that, the only thing that sells is nostalgia, I'd say take a look at K-pop Demon Hunters. It released with little marketing, and it blew up just from the basis of quality. If something is good, people are gonna show up. It's astonishing. And like of how people can't comprehend this. Companies cannot comprehend this. So if something of yours came before, and that you loved and you spent money on it, you're a fan of it, you want to share, you're gonna want to share with the world. That's the basis of nerds and fandom. We want to share the things we love. But guess what? If something that we love gets tarnished, we're gonna make sure nobody watches that, nobody gets involved, because we don't want them to have the same heartbreak as we had. That's the true essence of gatekeeping. We'll also gatekeep your emotions, man. We'll take care of you. But yeah, like, the fans are not the problem. You're the problem. You're hiring people who are not fans of a particular product or IP, and then slapping the name on it and thinking people are going to show up. It's not rocket science. If something doesn't hold true to the things that came before and has been molested into something that is unrecognizable and it's in name only, then it is your fault, the studios, and we will not support it because we are fans. But yeah, GGHGT71, you're probably a bot. I'm gonna read this so you guys know what the freak. Like, Kick, please work on this bot issue. It's every stream, but they say this, like, I'd love to collaborate with you to scale your presence on Kick. Leveraging my established social media network, I can drive targeted traffic to your streams and expose your content to a much larger base of highly engaged gaming fans. Let's make it happen. Add me on Discord. Boost Labs. If anybody falls for this bullcrap, you deserve everything that's coming to you. You deserve to get scammed. Like, who creates an account that's called GGHGT71Y, and then their Discord is Boost Labs? Like, come on, people, don't be retarded. Let's fix this damn thing. It's so annoying, man. You get so excited someone's in chat and then they just F around. But speaking of respect to the fans and respect, like, here's something. I hate the new Supergirl trailer. It looks like it might be better than Superman. Like, the villains, there's not a whole bunch of hero collaborations. There's not a bunch of, like, they stick to a faction and then a villain, Lobo, right? So it does look like it's better. It's gonna be better than Superman. Not a high bar, dude. Not a freaking bar at all. But they disrespect their own Superman. Like, look, I didn't like the movie. I still don't want to see any version of Superman disrespected. Unless that Superman is disrespectful at 100% in and of itself. Like, if they made Superman gay, that's disrespectful. That's just not Superman. David Cornsweet has an element that still has Superman, even though I think inherently he does things that are completely not Clark Kent and not Superman at all. But it's still, for, in my opinion, like, sometimes things could be fixed after ignoring something. So let's say everything is good after this movie and they do another Superman movie that's a different tone, and they kind of just never even, like think about Picard season 3 or 4, where there was just garbage and slop before it, and then they just ignored it and kept it a nice true story, and it was actually a good season. So, like, it was your one-off good season, and then that was enough to kind of seal the deal as a fan. They could do that with the DCEU. If your first movie is a garbage movie, like, look at what they did with Hulk. I don't think it was a garbage movie, but it didn't. It was the only unsuccessful or unprofitable movie, right? I still love that movie. I still think it's a better Hulk, but the Hulk that came after it was very much within the MCU, and we enjoyed it. Like we don't even it's not that we don't recognize it, but it's just we don't really remember it, and we don't bring it up as a whole. Like look at the changes that they did. It was just more like this movie, its own thing. It led up to this Hulk, but like I love that movie, and I think that's the best looking Hulk that we've ever had. It's very realistic and seems he's terrifying, and it's a nice Hulk movie. But anyways, the Supergirl trailer, you gotta remember all this stuff is deliberate. They're not just doing things for laughs and giggles. It's all deliberate. They're doing this for specific reasons. So like, let's get to it. The pissing on the freaking face of Superman. Okay. Stupid doggo. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause like every 2 seconds because of Blondie stuff and not get copyright. So she's on the bus again. She drinks a lot. Like right on his face. Really? And is it to point out that she didn't get the bigger picture? She's on the front cover. Like, is she mad that she didn't he saves town from a nuclear reactor and she saves cats? They're not equal, man, if she's upset about that. But regardless of the reason, it doesn't matter. Like, the dog is pissing. This was a deliberate move from... And you could say what you want about James Gunn not being that involved. All of this reads James Gunn. Okay? Look at the actor, the director, the scapegoat they hired. Disney has done this formula, the MCU has done this formula, and DC is now doing this formula. Warner Brothers is doing this formula where they hire somebody that has not really a name, doesn't really matter, to be in charge of their second big movie for the DC universe. That's their biggest IP that Warner Brothers owns. It's their cash cow. They own it, and they hired a no-name director. It's to be a scapegoat in case the movie, we just talked about this in this live stream. It's in case the movie fails, they could blame her. Like, oh, she was inexperienced, she could do this, and this in a subtle way. But he's the puppet master. He's doing all this behind the scenes. This is James Gunn, Supergirl. So, and if it's a good movie, I'll concede to him. Like, hey, you did a good Supergirl movie. That's fine. Even if the lady's name is attached to it. Because I know this is James Gunn. Like, and I was a James Gunn fan until Superman. Like, I'm very objective to the stuff he does. The Suicide Squad movie and Peacemaker didn't enjoy. I did enjoy the Suicide Squad movie, but it was dumb. And Peacemaker show I thought sucked. I just thought he couldn't do TV shows, and then he proves that he's a one-trick pony with all this Guardians of the Galaxy BS. But yeah.
You managed to get most of it on the paper this time.
Is that a yellow sun back there? Why is she drunk? Why is she drunk, huh? Okay. And even though the piss got on her face, is she trying to diminish the House of L symbol? Like that's not funny, dude. That's just disrespectful. Haha. Okay. Seems like it's a yellow sun again. Now, I'll give it this. Space bub kind of makes sense because you don't want to be flying through space and then hit a yellow sun and then die. Or a red sun and die. But, that's usually why there was a spacesuit for the Kryptonians. And again, it looks a little bit Mad Max Fallout style. She's not even wearing a super suit. She's in a trench coat.
Cars are out.
It looks well designed, but all this is just reminding me of Guardians of the Galaxy, dude. Like, specifically number 3. Hey, let's go back to that guy. What does he look like? Yeah, it's annoying because of copyright. I love this song, but you know, interesting. Okay.
Clear.
She's toasting to being 23 years old. Dude, 23-year-old Kryptonian. I think it's a very American thing about not like going out and finding yourself until it takes you to the age of 30. I think it's pretty stupid. Like, I want you to put this in perspective. First of all, the world's a big place. Brazil has changed a lot, but when I was growing up, if you weren't a professional athlete in a sport by the age of 14, it's time to give up on that dream and move on and get to work, because the world is a tough place. So, you know, and like, girls were already not dating you because they didn't see a future with you. Like, you weren't going to get girls if you like didn't know if you were going to be an engineer, a doctor, or whatever. Like, all the way to 23, and you can't. Like, I get there's a numbing aspect to what happened on Krypton, but yeah.
23 will be the best year yet.
And she's a good actress, but she's doing, to me, like in House of the Dragon, she was great, and here, like, I don't. It might be the style, but I don't even think she's acting good, even in the Superman movie. Yeah. The weird skulls and stuff in the background.
Let's be honest, babe. It's not a very high bar to clear.
I would say if she's referencing the Superman movie, correct. And if she, like, honestly, to me, that sounded like she was disrespecting the Supergirl stuff that came before, specifically the movie. Yeah, it wasn't a good movie. But, again, it's not a high bar to clear, so you better clear that bar when we watch this movie. You have all the technology, the CGI, everything going for you, other than having a crappy universe. Like, let's see what you could do. Interesting.
I didn't know any of you were still alive.
Okay, costumes, obviously they kept it to canon, but the architecture is interesting versus, and I've always been a proponent of, like, I don't think all of Krypton, like, I love the Christopher Reeve movies, but I don't think all of Krypton should have looked like ice and the Fortress of Solitude. I think the Fortress of Solitude should have been the elements that were based off the foundation of Krypton, and they have more futuristic buildings, kind of like the cinematic or the animated Superman.
Like to lose everything in the day.
She's a little girl, fine, but why a kid and a little girl? Like, and she said, like, how old is she supposed to be? Because she said, like, I didn't think any of you were alive. Like, Krypton has been destroyed. It's been 30 years. So how would you know anything about Krypton? Are they going to do, like, girl power moment bullcrap? And that's obviously to protect from the destruction of Krypton.
Krypton did that day. The gods are.
Okay, so we see Jared Leto's cult, and she's saying the gods, like, maybe we'll get some more lore of, like, the belief system of the Kryptonians.
Kind.
That's on that kind. She's yelling in space in the yellow sun. Okay, yelling so nobody can hear her because the vacuum of space is not a problem. What kind of spaceship is this? I always thought that was Christian Bale for a second. Look at this. Guardians of the Galaxy. How does this not look like Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Even the camera work, dude. Weapons are cool, though.
Okay.
Don't recognize any of these characters.
Does not look like this is gonna end well. For you guys.
What a stupid line, man. Like, again, and this is not me nitpicking. I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm being honest here. Like, that's not a good line. Like, it's very on the nose. Like, one of the complications that one of the arguments that people had, and I don't agree 100% with this argument of why it's hard to write a Superman movie, show, whatever, or character, is because like there's no stakes. Yeah, like they're super, and they like it's hard to make the audience feel like there's something's gonna happen to them. Like, dude, the death of Superman was a phenomenon of comic issue. Like, no, they really killed off Superman. Then they brought him back pretty quickly after that. But everybody's like, how can they kill off Superman, dude? Like, this is insane. And we need to feel that. Like, she's not in her super suit. Maybe take away the yellow sun. And then give her some lines that are like, oh, shoot. Like, how are we going to get out of this one? Like, this is... You know, like, it's... I don't want to see just a girl being a biatch and, like, overcoming her problems through drinking. And, like, I want to see her actually trying to overcome her issues with whatever it is. And it looks like I'm right, is she's drinking to forget about what happened to Krypton, or maybe she's drinking to forget what her responsibility is to get pumped and spread, get a seed spread into her, and then conquer the world, as Jor-El and Lara-El stated to Clark. Okay, we got some Raiders from Fallout over here. Remember that doof, doof, doof music I was telling you about? That's retarded. They got it again. This summer. Honestly, don't recognize that, dude. Honestly, don't recognize this design.
That is on your planet. How's my kid?
I don't even recognize this character. There are others like you. Okay, so obviously the yellow sun affects here because she could fly.
No, it's a pretty small group of two.
That looked really good, actually. So does this. Like, the shots are looking good, but it's just, it reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy. Alright. He looks great as Lobo. But again, this shouldn't be what I'm should be most excited for. I should be more excited to see Supergirl instead of Lobo.
Superman.
He sees the good in everyone. And I see the truth.
That is a bogus line. Again, I think it's disrespectful. Again, to Clark. Like, oh, he sees the good in everyone, and I see the truth. And like, it would be, what happened to a little bit of nuance and a little bit of, you know, like, providing a question mark. Like, he sees the good in everyone, and I see something else. And she's smiling as this line is being put out. Like, what are they trying to say in this trailer? And I'm not being nitpicky here, but I am going through every frame because it's important for me to like to not just be dumbfounded by the algorithmic way of them showing a trailer. Like, if you see, every trailer is fast paced, just like the movie. And I talked about this in the Superman, my Superman video, of why we prefer James Gunn's Superman, even though we like Henry Cavill more, over Man of Steel. Is because stupid boring is worse than just stupid. This stupid could be way more stupid than stupid boring. But if it's boring and stupid, then we're going to go to something that's just stupid. And it's because it doesn't let you sit for a second. It's like a YouTube video. They cut to keep your attention. So you're not clicking on multiple videos, because we come from a generation of retards. I'll give her this. Her super suit is much better than, even with the crappy S. It's much better than whatever David Cornstar's super suit is. Like, I still don't like the collar, but it works better on Supergirl. And like the belt and everything, the skirt, like I think it's very feminine. I think it's probably one of, other than the symbol, probably one of the best Supergirl suits that we've seen. It's nice. Anything else? Okay. Oh, I read up on that comic, by the way. I did read up, even though I said I wasn't going to. Yeah. A rough read, man. A rough read. I come from an era where comic books were good, you know, before 2009. And, damn, that was a rough read. I want to go over this trailer because I'm going to talk about, we're going to talk about the differences. Like, for instance, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. Should we just keep the sound off and let it play? Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, right? This looks more like somewhat of gameplay footage, right? But this trailer makes me want to play Tomb Raider. And it's been a long time since I want to play it. And they have effed her up in the past. Like the same studio. But because like they did the trailer right, and if anything, even if this is a garbage game, because of this trailer, it makes me want to go play it. Even though it's coming from a company that I do not trust. But again, when something looks good, you got to go support it, right? When something it shows all the promise in the world, you got to go support it. This does look good. Yeah. For in-game footage and cinematics. Hey.
My memory.
Am I going to get copyright struck for this stuff? Like, the graphics look great.
Lost worlds.
Like,
frozen in time.
yeah, the boobas aren't as big. But
New discovery.
it feels a little more like Lara Croft.
Waiting behind every door.
Like Tomb Raider, right? And here's the thing. The difference between this trailer and the Supergirl trailer is that it doesn't have to call back and diminish what has already come before. And I'm talking about just the Superman movie. Like, in a matter of a year, you're already trashing that movie. Like, it's pretty dumb. A dumb thing to do. Dumb marketing strategy, right? And again, because they used the music Blondie, it just you screwed up by playing something in the soundtrack that is just has nothing to do with the Supergirl persona. Maybe it might have something to do with the movie, just like Guardians of the Galaxy. But again, one trick pony. It's reminding us of Guardians of the Galaxy all over again. I wouldn't say video games are back. Like, here's something. It does have the problems in the soundtrack that we get from movie trailers. We get that bullcrap. But this trailer, aside from that, I don't think it's an indicator that we're back, that something has been saved. Maybe this has been saved. Maybe. We'll see when the final product comes out. But in order for something to be back, I'm going to use the example of the Star Wars video game. Let's say every game that releases in the next 5 years is a freaking masterpiece other than the Star Wars video game. And then they do a full 180 and apology for a crappy game. And the whole game community be like, yeah, you guys got to fix it. We do want a racing game, but not like this. This is bullcrap. This is trash. And because of the influence of great games, they prop up. They force companies that are doing bad games to become better, and then they'll release a good game. That's when you know, like, if we're back. This is not going to. One game that is based off an older game, that is giving you the nostalgic feels, that has a great trailer, that looks looks like a Tomb Raider game would be as a progression to 2025, 2026, as it always should have, isn't an indication that it's going to be good or back, but has all the indications that we are going to have. I'm say it is an indication, but it's not an indication that we're back. But one thing might be safe: it's not to speak on the other games that are. We got a sneak or a commercial about.
The path this adventure would send me on.
See what I'm talking about? Like this freaking music. So let me turn off the sound. Yeah, that's definitely gameplay, right? A little bit of gameplay, cinematics.
Burns. I need
A little bit of mix of Indiana Jones, which she always had. Need to go further.
To uncover the secrets of Atlantis.
Yeah, and again, focusing on the story, like not about finding yourself and being better than dudes. Like just focusing on you, the story. Secrets of Atlantis, huh? And she looks good. Like the graphics look amazing, cinematics and gameplay. It matches well.
Some legends are destined to be retold.
Tomb Raider. Yeah, I would say like if there's an old game that you were wondering if you should revisit, those would be the games to play. But also if there's a game that's coming out that's reminiscent of the old games, probably this one. We'll see when it launches if it's actually good, like, because that's the thing, we've gotten bait and switches before. Yeah, I have faith in the video game industry because of the fans. The fans of like gamers, they don't shut up, and they will say some bull crap, man. They will say some crazy stuff, but it's fine. Yeah, like it just is what it is. It like the audience of video games, they're more outspoken, so I do think games will, even if they went the woke route for a bit, they'll eventually come back. They have to. It's the biggest media industry in the world. Like Hollywood doesn't even come close. But Hollywood used to have an effect. Like gaming industries were always trying to see what movie was coming out next and base a game off that movie. I think that was one of the greatest eras, regardless if we had crappy movies or not. It's because they were always pumping out good games. And like if you guys played the Batman Begins game on the Xbox, dude, it was a pretty freaking good game. The Superman Returns game, dude, solid game, man. Fun. That should be a game I should probably look into and getting and playing on stream for you guys, because I remember some great memories, man. It is a whole lot of fun. But yeah. That's all I kind of really wanted to talk about, really. Like I wanted to react to those and kind of compare, that trailer of something that's nostalgic and doing it right versus the Supergirl trailer. I just didn't think the Supergirl trailer had anything to offer, really. Like again, I shouldn't be more excited to see Lobo than the main actor / character of the movie. I shouldn't want to see the villain or side character more than, and be more interested at least. Like, yeah, maybe I want to see him more because I only got a sneak peek, but I shouldn't want to go watch that movie solely based off that character who is probably not gonna be on screen a whole lot, versus the main character, right? But yeah, guys. Give me 1 second. I will be back. Okay, what I was saying was I'm probably gonna get screwed on the copyright stuff because Warner Brothers is hella petty. But if you tuned in, great. Then no issue. You got to see my take on it. But yeah, like I'm probably not gonna make a video on it. I probably have to just make a video on my thoughts, explaining, just going through the same beats, the same things I was talking about. But yeah, I think I honestly don't see the excitement for this movie. The comic book that it's based off, from what my friends that are real comic book fans tell me, it's also not good. So yeah, I don't know. But I think I'm gonna end it there, guys. It's good talking to you. Good. I had fun. I just thought it was important for us to go through and see the perspective and experience of somebody who actually is in the game. And I've been playing Fallout a lot, and it's probably going to take me years to beat the game. So don't expect me to beat it so quickly. And if you're going to tune in, you're going to watch me die a lot because I suck. Like, I got to figure it out. I got to figure out how to freaking get unlimited bullets or something, because dude, that's like the toughest thing, where I have to walk around with these crappy weapons, man. It's rough. But hell yeah. If you guys are on the YouTube side, like, check out my video that I made. I used to own a Lego store and have a lot of experiences from that Lego store. It is awesome. And unfortunately, I got screwed out of it. So, and that will be a story for another day. I'll probably do an interview about it. You guys, yesterday's live stream, I talked about it. But I'm out, guys. See you guys later.